heroes have got you on their files for sure. So long as you're still here, you're in danger. We all are. Maybe we should get away. All the Mallrats while we still can. Start again.
We have to fight. Look, it's what Bray would have done, and it's what I'm gonna do. We need concrete evidence of their experiments on human subjects. And when we've got that, we broadcast it on CityNet for everyone to see.
God, all this technology. I wish we had Jackie to know what we had to do.
Welcome to Series 4, Episode 27 of Conversation on Eagle Mountain, a podcast about the tribe. I'm your host, Lance, and joining the podcast panel today is Sabine.
Hi.
And Tamsin.
Hello.
With episode notes done by Matt and myself. So Series 4, Episode 27. The screenplay was done by Tony Osborne. It was directed by Murray Keane, and the episode synopsis was read out by Sabine.
Lex experiences the benefits and pitfalls of his newfound fame. Jay struggles to square his beliefs with the Techno regime under continued pressure from Ebony and Amber. And Amber puts her trust in Chloe.
Okay, let's jump straight into this episode because Lex wakes to a crowd of fans outside the hotel.
Lex, meet your public. It's no game, Lex. They've all come here on their own accord just to catch a glimpse of you. What, you don't believe me? Then raise your hand. Go on, try it.
His new status emboldens him to swear revenge on Java, not to mention beating up Ved. But fame does cause complications in his attempt to secretly meet up with Siva. Meanwhile, Ram makes it clear that Lex's continued safety in the game is dependent on the reception of the public. So yeah, panel, what did you make of this twist to Lex's situation and his reactions to it?
I thought it was interesting because his reaction to it was basically what we know about Lex, which is it went to his head really quickly, which I thought was a nice bit of writing. I also thought the way Ram used it, he looked at the numbers and he thought, okay, I can work with this. And I thought that was quite interesting and felt very in keeping for both their characters. So I think it was well written in that way. It didn't really tell us anything surprising about Lex. Maybe it told us a bit more about Ram, but not really, because we know he wants to be a Roman emperor. And we know that they had gladiators. And so all of this kind of aligns with that.
Yeah, I agree. It makes perfect sense. Like, it instantly going to Lex's head obviously was to be expected. I have to say, I do like the fact that he feels safe enough in this to not just swear revenge on Java, but, finally someone's kicking Ved's ass.
Yeah.
And after Ved's behavior in the past couple of episodes, I really wanted that to happen.
He had it coming. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And also I thought it was really clever the way Lex actually dealt with him. He got him to take the zapper off, which was such a mistake.
Yep.
From Ved's part.
Yeah. I didn't like the whole. I think it went. I guess a little too much into Lex's head, even though, like you guys have said, that is very in keeping with his character. But I feel like Lex would have been a little bit more cautious in what Ram was offering. But I did thoroughly enjoy the Ved scene.
Yeah.
He did have it come in. Lex, that was the old Lex. Lex chose the moment
Yeah.
well. He saw
Yeah.
that he was backed up by the crowd and that Ved wouldn't back down because he's already seen how Ved acts in the crowd. So that was perfectly timed by Lex. So that was great. That whole scene was great. But yeah, it's just the previous bit I wasn't too fond of. But yeah.
That felt very much like the old Lex. The one that we don't get so much. And I especially like the fact that after he'd beaten Ved, he was like, we're not going to tell anybody about this.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell anybody about this? I loved it. It felt season 1, season 2-ish.
It's like they both worked each other out. And Lex is like, I know you now. So like, I know you ain't going to tell nobody about this because you're going to get a bollocking.
It was great. It was great. But again, it makes you sort of yearn for that version of Lex.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
I think
the problem.
That's the problem, yeah. That's the problem.
You know,
it shows us what we're missing.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
100%.
Sabine. Yeah, it does. Now, can I ask about the Siva situation? Because this feels like maybe he's finally taken on board the seriousness, but then he's kind of forgotten how serious it was. I don't know.
This is what I mean when it went all too much into his head, because all of a sudden now he's threatening Java, he's beating up Ved, and now he's gone right back to finding a love shack with Siva. Like, none of this is too much.
He did say to her though, he said we have to play it on the down low, which previously
come on.
he's just been snoggering her in the corridor, let's be honest. But yeah, I agree with you. The threatening Java, and that never pays off as either. That's a threat that never pays off.
Nope.
Which is disappointing.
Also, him instantly having yet another love shack hidden somewhere.
Oh,
yeah.
More questions to be answered. Like, so how many love shacks has Lex got hidden? But when did he have these? Who was it? Who was it for? That's the main question. Like, when he was with Tysan? With Zandra?
I think Sabine, you mentioned you had a really good point ages ago where you said you thought that maybe they'd been set up for Zandra.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah. It could have been that he was trying to set up some place for him to go with Zandra because he was planning on leaving the mall.
Yeah.
With her and the baby. But
the fact that he has more though says
Yeah, but the second he could have scoped out recently.
Yeah, but the only thing that would have made sense to me with these, honestly, with him having more than one, would have been if he had these in the chosen times. If Tysan had managed to meet him at those places to sneak out, but they never did anything with it. They only met him in the field.
We know that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean that answers the question though. Where was he going after he'd gotten into the mall, which was often at night? Yeah, he'd spend the night with Tysan, but then where would he go? So potentially he could have been going to one of these hideouts that have become love shacks.
Yeah, but
he had to run straight back to the Resistance. So I feel
where's the subject? Where have we been told about these before? Multiple locations. Yeah. Unless it's just a place where he just stashes stuff he's nicked, and that maybe it was places that him and Casey had, and he's turned it into a love den.
But that leads to so many problems because Lex is always at the mall. You know what I mean? People will find this place. You know what I mean? Like, people in the city will find this place. Kids running in the store in the street, living in the streets, they'll find this place. They'll get the stuff. Unless you have it secure, it just doesn't make sense. It'll be looted. It doesn't.
And it's not secure either, is it? No. It's just got a bit of like
exactly.
metal across the door. And to be honest, someone could watch him really go in and out.
As has been done already with Java.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, do you really think someone like Fisheye wouldn't have watched him do this and looted the place?
No. It's just one of those things, but I don't. It just muddies up the situations. Like, no. You could have just said, "Oh, okay, I'm looking for another place" or something like that. Just to just a simple thing like that would have eased it off. But no, I've got multiple places. Like, no, shut up. It raises too many questions.
Yeah, but come on. I mean, come on. Even at first, when he said, "Oh, that they shouldn't be having Amber in the mall," because that was dangerous. Why not send Amber and Trudy there?
Oh, because he doesn't want them to know about it. Because he doesn't want to bang either of them right now.
These girls would have rolled their eyes vividly
Yeah,
the whole
can you
fact
imagine if they'd seen that setup that he had?
that- They would have died laughing.
Yeah, they would have. And you know there'd been a situation where one of them said, do not open that drawer over there, whatever you do. I opened it and I can't unsee what was inside it.
So you guys just mentioned like a good issue, because we're literally just a few episodes since the rescue of Amber and all the kids who were
Yeah.
trapped in reality space experiments. Like that could have come up then. Like, oh, I've got a safe house that we can take these kids to. That's not the mall where the Technos will be coming to. That would have made sense. And then giving this a free pass, but no, this shows that this has just come out of nowhere. So,
but we also know Lex is quite secretive though, and he's not willing to share unless it's him.
For his safety, though. But and this is the safety. The Technos would, if they found out, would have come straight to the mall. So it didn't make sense to have the rescued kids in the mall. You know what I mean? And we know from when we watched the episode back, the episode afterwards, they were staying in the mall and they had just been released. So
yeah,
I mean, it's like Swiss cheese, isn't it? Really?
yeah.
Yep.
But it's the sad thing. Like, it's only a few episodes difference. Like, where's the continuity? Where's the sense of like progression? These things just keep popping up.
Yeah, it needs to be there, so it's suddenly magically there.
Right.
I think it's a bit like, we've mentioned this before, it's like Tai-San's fighting skills. So sometimes they're there and sometimes they're not. It's whenever they need to be there, they suddenly are, but then they're not.
It's the room of requirement.
Exactly. It's interesting. It makes me wonder, though, why they haven't now tried to get another vert, like work up another champion inside the city so that they can be like Lex versus, because what's he going to do? Just continue to fight Technos? I mean, I feel like the PR strategy needs work. That's all I'm saying. Right? I can see the vision, but I just think if we just continue to have Lex beat up Technos or get beaten up by Technos, I know the point is that it's going to get stale, and then, they'll be more interested in the Technos than they will in Lex. Ram basically says that, but, not sure.
Yeah, there's so many people they could have had him fight. But then they would have had to bring people back.
Yeah, but, I mean, that is, that's the problem.
What's wrong with you? What are you getting yourself in for, Ved? If you don't stop now, you'll never get out. I mean it. You think it's great to see others as less than you are, just like Ram. But you're dealing with poison, both of you. And it'll eat you out from the inside.
Yeah, and all that love my neighbor stuff, I get you. But let me tell you something. Me and Ram, we're building a new world. Well, our neighbors out there are going back to the jungle. So, if you have a problem, I suggest you go and join them.
Later, Ebony tries to instill a sense of urgency into Jay, telling him that every day it becomes harder for them to stop Ram, as his strength continues to grow. And we also find that Amber visits him, promising to present him with hard evidence of the darker side of the Techno regime, because for some reason Jay doesn't know about it, and challenging him not to ignore it when she does. So yeah, I mean, we've gone around and round about Jay's obliviousness to what's going on in Technos, but how do you feel about the increasing pressure on Jay himself?
It's very interesting because I think that the cracks are starting to appear in how he's able to hold things together. And I think you really saw it when he was having that conversation with Ved, when he actually physically throws him against the wall. And it's really tense. And he threatens Ved, like, you don't want me as your enemy. And it feels like he's kind of at the edge of something here, where he's trying to make his brother understand the sort of danger they're in, but it's already too late. And it's that failure to acknowledge the fact that Ved has fully gone over to the dark side and he can't bring him back. That's it, really, isn't it?
Yep.
And I think the more he's trying to bring him over, the more, the riskier his position actually becomes. Because eventually, Ved is going to say something to Ram, and Ram is going to know, if he doesn't already, that Jay is not on board anymore. And I also think with the pressure from Amber, even if she shows him this, what does she think he's going to be able to do? He's already basically said to Ebony, Amber doesn't know this, of course, but we, the audience, does, that even if he wanted to move against Ram, he can't. So what is the point of this?
I mean, from
as-
their point of view, it's like it's again like we've talked about. It's like a Luke situation. They think they can help use him to undermine the Technos or Ram specifically, but
with the big difference that with Luke, they actually had some form of chance.
Yeah.
but they can see that Jay is like amenable to what they're saying. He's not discarding anything else they're saying.
He is, but unlike Luke, who actually had multiple of his own followers within the Chosen, people that respected him, Jay doesn't have that as widely.
But the Morats don't know that, remember? They don't know the specifics.
So I get why Amber tries.
Yeah.
It just, it doesn't work because, well, Jay's not Luke.
He is the general, apparently. Who knows nothing, but he's the general of the Techno army.
Yeah. As said, at least Luke admitted to what he knew and what happened. He just told them he wanted to close his eyes to it, whereas Jay claims to be completely oblivious and an idiot.
I think the thing there, though, Sabine, is that they weren't trying to make Luke a main love interest. He was a love interest for Ellie, who is still, she's one of the main characters, but she's still more of a side character than she is, say, Amber or Ebony. Now, I think the issue comes in is that Jay is a love interest and a replacement for Bray. So, because of that, they have to try and make him as neutrally good as possible. The problem there is, as you guys have both said and pointed out multiple times, and Liz has said as well, everybody that's been on here basically, you can't have your cake and eat it too. These plot points don't work because he's supposed to be oblivious, but yet also in charge of the army and the landing force. And these things, yet again, do not make sense. If we try to whitewash him to such an extent, he looks like a complete and utter moron, which then you think, well, why are you trying to help us overthrow this anyway? You're not capable of doing anything. But then on the other side, like you say, the interesting thing about Luke was the fact that he could have started a movement against the Guardian, with Trudy especially. But no, his refusal to do that and his refusal to act like that was part of what made everything so tense. The fact that he could, but he didn't. He decided not to. And whereas with Jay, he could, but he can't because he doesn't have a position really. And I think it would make more sense if Amber was trying to talk him into some kind of, okay, this is what we need to do to build a rebellion. Like when she was talking to the city leaders and she was saying we need low-level, constant attacks so that they don't want to be here anymore. And we kind of needed her to basically say that to Jay. Are you interested in undermining him from the inside out? Because, yeah, she's going to show him this footage, but at the end of the day, what is that going to achieve?
Well, to be fair, like, Jay keeps saying to Amber's face that he doesn't see the dark side of the Technos.
Yeah.
So by showing him specifically this evidence, he can't no longer turn a blind eye. He'll have to accept it. And then what he does next, that's another issue. But at least he will be confronted with that decision.
How can you not see that this is dark, though? Everything that they have done to get to power in the city, it's just, how can you not think that ripping people away from each other and sending people to prison camps is not dark?
Because, just from Jay's point of view, like he said to Ebony, this is his goal. This is his greater good. These things don't matter in the short term, because long term, he'll have his hospitals, he'll have his schools. So this happening now, he's comfortable with it.
God, it's just so dark.
He feels like it's okay to sacrifice the few for the benefit of the many.
Right, yeah. But the hope that Amber is trying to do is if she shows him this stark evidence of how badly people are being treated, it might shift his balance. But yeah, That's Jay for you.
Maybe she realizes he might just be an idiot and needs to be shown.
Yeah, I mean, he is, but yeah.
Can I ask about the Amber, Ebony, Jay scenes? So I think at this point they've decided that they're going to go down the Jay Amber route, haven't they? Do you guys
This is the
agree,
question.
or-
That's a big question we've been asking. What do you think they are now?
I think they are, yes. Because I don't think they put as much into the scene with Ebony. It had all been said and done before. And again, I think you guys made a really good point when you said that he's never affirmative in his feelings towards Ebony. Like, she directly asks him, and he doesn't say and he doesn't say anything. He dodges the question, and he doesn't give an answer. And when she says, "Do you want me?" and he doesn't respond. Now, it's clear he does want her, but I think it's that tendency that they have with the writers to make it so that he doesn't give an affirmative answer. Like, he doesn't know what's going on, and we don't know if he was that into Ebony, and it's all that maybe it isn't. But I think, yeah, they're definitely trying to put Jay and Amber, like, he's seeing the best version of Amber that he can possibly see whenever he sees her.
Mhm.
She's this powerful, passionate, intelligent young woman who is only out to help other people, and he's got a messiah complex, so obviously that's going to turn him on. What do you think, Sabine?
The whole Jay, Ebony, Amber thing just annoys me, but I don't know, I guess I don't care enough. It's like, I can't care enough about Jay to have an issue with this, and I don't care enough about Amber to have an issue with this. My issues with Jay and his relationships mainly stem from how he treats Trudy. But, let's be fair, I've hated Amber for years. So my brain just went, she deserves him.
No.
No.
No, I'm finally learning why that's wrong, but that was my point of view for many years.
That's interesting. Your opinion's changed.
Yeah. With age, with rewatching.
I was just gonna say, I think because the writing, the long-term planning on season 4 has been so bad, I'm gonna say no, this wasn't planned just yet.
Yeah, okay.
Simply because of that. It's just because nothing's been planned more than an episode or two ahead. It feels like at times. So I'm gonna say that they didn't plant the seeds yet for Amber and Jay.
Okay.
But that's
I
just
don't
my
know.
random thought.
I don't know. It's with the way they're doing this, it's like one of the things they have a habit of is returning plot lines. And, Ebony and Amber disagreeing over a man is a returning plot line.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's very much a start of The Boy Is Mine. Like Ebony, who is there to show us that if you're wicked, you can't win.
I don't know. I just don't see the plan yet for Amber and Jay. Like, at the moment, this is just like when Amber and Ebony had their discussions about the world and how to build. This is just Amber and Jay on that level. You know what I mean? There's no romantic inclinations at the moment. I don't think it was planned yet in the show. This is just them butting heads over ideology, personally. But,
interesting.
like, I mean, and then later, when they suddenly throw Trudy into the mix and then Amber, like, that's a whole other issue. But that felt like a last minute thing. But yeah, but for now, I don't feel like, they're thinking Amber and Jay.
Well, that's interesting, because what happens later on when we get to the eco camp again, when that thing happens, which we will just gloss over, that took me by surprise because I hadn't seen it coming. But actually, now I'm watching it again, I can see them building to it. So it's interesting that you say that you can't see that, because I think maybe it's the benefit of hindsight that I'm seeing it slightly different and I'm seeing them build it now. But yeah, I mean, like, there is no plan. So yeah. I mean, I think there was clearly a plan to put Ebony and Jay together, but I think the writers are starting to abandon that, but they will come back to it, as we know.
Yeah, I was just about to say, but they seem to have abandoned that idea very quickly on. Like,
Yeah.
it's odd.
And
Season 4 is
why?
odd.
Why do we think they've abandoned it so quickly?
I don't know, because again, Amber's here only briefly. They knew this. Like, I don't know. Honestly, don't know why they didn't want to put the two together
Because
and commit to it. Sorry.
they're so interesting as a couple. They work and they've got great chemistry.
Yeah, undeniably.
But, I know you just said that they can't have planned for Jay and Ebony, or for Jay and Amber in the long run. But what if they did? What if they suddenly decided, okay, we needed someone to keep Jay busy because we couldn't pair him off instantly, but, so Ebony was the perfect option for that, and now Amber's back, and she gets gets all Jay's attention again. And
then why Trudy? Why would they throw Trudy in there then?
Well, are they trying to do the triangle that they had before, but just slightly different?
But you've already got Ebony, Jay, and Amber. There was no need to put Trudy into that.
Mm.
If Amber was the end goal, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sold on that.
Trudy, Ebony, Amber, Bray.
A quadruple, whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's the unholy trinity, isn't it? Those three always in the unholy trinity.
It's like Ebony is fun to play around with because she's that tad evil. Then when you're utterly bored, you go for Trudy when there's no other options. And when Amber pays attention to you again, it's rush over to Amber. That's how it works with guys in Tri-World, right?
I'm not sure about that because I always think Trudy, like if you think about it with Bray, Trudy, he was really interested in Trudy in the beginning, but then when he knew his brother was interested in her, he backed off. Mm-hmm. And Ebony seems to be put in this sort of, she's a temptress. No man can resist her position. So of course Bray fell into her clutches. And then I think we're kind of forgetting the fact that Celine was actually between Ebony.
Yeah, I know, but
everyone forgets about Celine. Amber was way down the track.
Right.
Ebony is still salty over the fact that he was with Amber. Yeah. Like, be real. She did not steal you. Like, she didn't do that.
Yeah, no, but
it's
why we're forgetting Celine is because Celine is supposed to be happy with Amber's leftovers.
Well, in a way,
is he?
That's not technically true.
We don't know because they won't. Another thing they won't commit to is he her leftovers. Have they a relationship? Were they engaged? We'll never really know.
But we also take it back to the Bray situation, Bray is actually Celine's leftover for Amber. Okay, and then so actually what they've done is they've just switched positions. So Bray is Celine's ex before he dates Amber, and then Pride is potentially, like you say, Lance, we do not know the relationship status to be confirmed, was the ex of Amber possibly, and so they just switch. Unless we find out that Amber and Ryan were doing it the whole time, and we never knew about that, which would be absolutely mind-melting.
I think that's the one pairing I've never shipped in my life.
Jeez.
I've shipped Ryan with so many people, but never with Amber for some reason.
He was never guarding that sewer. He was up with Amber the entire time.
Stop. I love Ryan, but Amber and Ryan, they would not work. No. Amber needs to be challenged, like on her ideology, on her beliefs. Like that's just not right. I love him,
and
but
Ryan's
that's
just
not right.
Beefcake, isn't he? He's just a beefcake.
To me, yeah, but like in my head, Amber and Ryan makes as little sense as Amber and Jack.
Yeah.
Oh God, that makes no sense. Weirdly, that feels kind of incestuous as well, and I don't know why. Why? That's not right. We could do a whole podcast on couples that shouldn't be couples.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It'll be interesting if you get any correspondence from the listeners to see if they felt either that Amber and Jay was in the works from this point on, or whether it was still Ebony and Jay.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to hear opinions about that, because obviously, because so much is thrown in the way during this season. So yeah, like, do you think Jay and Amber was planned from this point, or did that come later on?
Get in touch.
Let us know.
Is that it?
What else do you want, Chloe?
Punish them. People will only learn to obey if they're scared of you.
Where did you hear that?
What's so secret here anyway? I'm part of the tribe just as much as they are.
Though Amber wants to utilize Chloe, Pride is no longer certain if she could even be trusted. However, with her allegiances in question, Chloe does go to see Ved, getting him drunk and discovering that the password to the computer system is actually her name, suggesting that Ved's feelings for her are a lot deeper than even he lets on. Alongside the key card that she was given previously, this now means that the Morats can now get the evidence that they need against the Technos. So yeah, panel, what do you make of Chloe and her conflicts throughout this episode?
It's the password scene, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's the foundation stone of the Chloe Ved shippers. I don't think there's a character that embodies the wasted potential of season 4 more than Chloe. Because the Chloe of the past, this would have been a really conflicting, interesting season for her. Like, she's in this relationship with Ved. We know the Chloe of the past, who's grounded, sensible, says it like it is, isn't afraid to put herself in danger to help the tribe. But yet, that Chloe, we only get a little bit of her in this. Her risking herself to help everybody, to prove the point that she's still on board, that she actually still is a mole rat. She shouldn't be discounted. And that she has that cleverness to kind of talk him into getting a drink, even though he's like, oh no, I've been here before with you. And yet she still convinces him to do it. And I felt like really sorry for her when Pride said, can we even trust her anymore? When you think, she got sent to that prison camp and nobody cared.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, these people are not your friends, Chloe. I mean, Ved is not her friend either. She actually, I was listening to the most recent episode that you guys did, which was released, which was you, Sabine, and Liz talking about, I think it was episode 24. And something you said that I thought was really interesting and chimed with me is that you both said that there is nobody in Chloe's corner. Patsy's gone, Casey's gone, and she doesn't have any friends. And I felt like maybe this was her desperately trying to make a connection with the people that she lives with as well.
Yeah.
And it's just really, it's sad what they've done to her character.
The more I think about the whole Chloe Ved and the password thing, the more I keep thinking that they try to put part of Patsy's character into Chloe in this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like they just went, okay, we have one girl left, so let's just make her a mix.
It's almost as if they didn't know how to write for Chloe, and they just said generic teenage girl. And it would have been, I mean, in a way, it would have been more interesting. Well, not more interesting, but different if this had actually been Patsy. Because we've already seen her indoctrinated once by Trudy. So she's a former person who was in a cult, basically. And so when that chilling light, people will only learn to obey if they're scared of you. I could see Patsy delivering that and
100%.
actually meaning it. Yeah. Whereas Chloe, it just feels like, this ain't you, girl. This is not you. And this guy.
No, a lot of the storyline feels so Patsy-ish.
This
Yes,
line
it
is
does.
so Patsy-ish. This ain't a Chloe line at all. Like,
No.
even Ved's influence. This isn't Chloe. Sorry, this is... I don't know what this is. This is not Chloe.
This is Patsy. This is generic teenage girl. This is what this is. This is just, like you say, they just needed a girl to fill this position. And she was the right demographic to do it. So they just, instead of keeping her character as it was, they reformed it to this shape that they needed. And that's why it doesn't fit. And it doesn't make sense. Because it was the wrong character to do it with. Because Chloe was too defined. She was too well defined. Whereas Patsy, who's already been in a cult, who already showed issues around... She was a very vulnerable person. Makes more sense for her.
But even that, that line that Pride says, "Can we even trust her?" would have made so much more sense had it been Patsy.
If it'd been Patsy, yeah. So then my question is, do you think there was ever a version of this script that included Patsy and they just did a find and replace? And they just changed it to Chloe?
See, because we know that they were hastily rewriting scripts on the go, again, no plan. So I don't think they did have a lot of season 4 written before they knew Patsy was gone. So,
right,
even though that would make sense, no, this is just weird situation where they wanted her to be more like Patsy. So that's what we got, and they didn't think about the transition from the Chloe we knew to this new Chloe, who's Patsy 2.0. But that's the problem. They didn't think about that transition. So this is what they just threw in there.
Because all of this behavior would have made so much more sense for Patsy.
Yeah, it would have.
Like all the behavior in this season.
Yeah.
That we saw from Chloe, it would just be so much more fitting.
And what makes it worse is that I wouldn't even mind if new Chloe said this, but if it has to make sense. Chloe, like new Chloe, this is a chilling line. Where's she gotten this from? Like, it's not like Ved and the Technos are around her for her to say this. This is her saying this in the privacy and comfort of her home with her family. And she's saying this chilling line, people will only learn to obey you if they are scared of you. This is an important thing to say. Like, we need to know how this has happened to Chloe, but we don't get a single thing. And that's so sad.
And what has led her to think this?
Yeah.
Because we've not seen Ved say this directly. So is it just her watching his behaviour? We don't know.
And why would she think this now and not like against the Chosen, who would definitely had the fear factor? You know what I mean? Like, we need to know more about why she's reached this to say this. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because you could say they could have put a line in about her having been in the mines, and that, the Chloe that we got back is a bit different because she had that period of captivity, which would change you. It would make you harder. It would make you less open to things, I think, if you had suddenly ended up in a prison camp.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be more... You wouldn't be maybe as trusting, but show us this. Show us the change. Do not just have this character say these things. Drop it like a bomb in the middle of this conversation.
Right.
And then, I mean, no wonder they don't trust her.
I was going to say.
Because she's completely gone over to the dark side. I mean, if anything, no wonder they don't trust her. And I don't give Pride. I mean, you know how I feel about Pride.
Mm-hmm.
But I think on this, maybe he's not wrong, which is such a slap in the face. When
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
How she put herself on the line for them and could have been killed. For all they knew, she was dead. Because I don't care what anyone says. Patsy is a confirmed kill by the Chosen.
Mm-hmm.
I think she is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I think Luke even confirmed that.
Yeah.
But he couldn't get to Patsy quick enough to save her.
I just wish they'd built up to this line, because it is a big, massive bombshell to just throw in there. And they've done nothing to build up for it. Like, episode 27, we've not built this up to say this. We've seen her be petulant. We've seen her be a bit spoiled. We've seen her like throwing, was it custard and eggs to the tribe? But not this. This is something else. And I would have liked to have seen that properly paved the way for.
Yeah, because it's another thing that's just going to get thrown away. Because we see her say this, doesn't come to anything.
Doesn't come
to... We don't see her... Yeah. I'd also say how many times are Chloe and Ved going to do this to each other? How many times is he going to act like a dick? How many times is she going to put something in his drink? Not that she did, she just got him drunk. But how many times is she going to spike him?
Oh.
How many times are they going to do this?
I was going to ask you guys that, actually. The other question I had, did she spike his drink or not? Because she was fine.
She wasn't drinking, he was.
She said like two, like just like she had been drinking, like.
Oh,
as
I
if she'd
thought it
been-
was two more for him.
No, she must have been drinking at some point because he wouldn't have let her just apply him with drinks. So there must have been like, you know what I mean? Like, but she was like fine as if she'd been drinking water. I was a bit weird. I was like, oh, did she spike him again? I'm not too sure. Because I need to know the Chloe that can handle a drink. Like, that's a whole other story. Like, where did this come from? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where did this come from?
She learned from Lex.
Yeah, well, no, come on.
There weren't drinks in the mine. Like, she didn't have any of that available to her. So, like,
Well,
where has this
Can
come
Lex
from?
handle his drink, though? Can he handle his drink? I don't think
No,
he can.
no.
Again, like, if you're going to throw these things in, like, we need some context and information, like, backstory.
Yeah, give us, like, a shot for shot, you know.
And it's just left in the air.
Kind of like Indiana Jones when they're in that bar and then Marion's drinking the shots with that other person and she's like going shot for shot. That's what we needed to see with Chloe and Ved.
Because there's so many ways they could have done it. Okay. Either she can handle a drink, or she was pretending to drink, or she spiked his drink. I mean, there's so many different ways you could go about this scene, but we don't get any of that. It's just left in the air again for us to make up.
Yeah, we're not going to fill that in.
Nope. Season 4.
And are we also meant to think that he just allowed her to ply him with, like, if she didn't spike his drink, if she's not, you know, like a rager, right? Which is what we're maybe saying about Chloe. She's someone you want to go out and have a party with, right? So if she's not that, then are we also meant to think that Ved just sat there and let her buy him two drinks each time?
Right.
While she was maybe on water. Are we also meant to think that about him? Like, okay.
Yeah.
The only way this works is if Chloe made a deal with the bartender to, you know, just start giving her water after the second drink. Just fill her glass with water.
Yeah. But then show us it.
Right.
Because that would be quite clever. The fact that she's gone in there, she's got a connection, she's done this deal, maybe she's traded something.
It could even be the same bartenders before. Like, you know what I mean? That could have been that connection there, like, because he already knows how of a butthole Ved is already. You know what I mean? So that would have made so much sense. She's already spoken to him and made this deal.
Or even if Dee had arranged it behind the scenes, you know, if we had seen Dee talking in the background with the bartender.
Which would have given Dee something to do this episode. She didn't get much, did she?
Nah, just a new outfit.
I mean, let's stick with that. Because, like, Dee really doesn't spend much of anything in this episode, but she does have that new tribe style, which isn't a mosquito uniform. What did you make of that?
Well, I liked it. I mean, but it was very brightly coloured.
Mm-hmm.
And why did she abandon her mosquito uniform? Would be my question. But
this is the questions we need answering.
Everybody in this episode has, well, a lot of people, like Java's got new hair. She's got purple hair now. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but under that yellow thing that Lex was wearing, he's wearing the top that it's like a keyhole top. It's black. That he's going to go on to wear for the rest of the season with that maroon jacket. So his tribe style's changed. He's not wearing the sheriff outfit anymore because the trousers are different and you could see the neckline. So there has been a couple of costume changes here. But Dee's one stood out the most because it came out of nowhere.
I was going to say, Dee's is very erogenous because it was a full-on mosquito outfit. And for her to suddenly drop it, when we know, like, last episode, she was patrolling with a mosquito. Like, we're going to need some information. Why is she now suddenly in normal clothing? Like, we need something, please.
Does this mean that she's a mole rat now?
Yeah. Has she abandoned the mosquitoes now? Has she just decided I'm a mole rat? Like,
I guess so.
But we need a conversation.
Exactly.
We need something. even like a little conversation with Chloe. I want to be restyled or something like something.
Yeah. That would
It
have
could be
been something
5
nice
seconds.
for Chloe to have done, wouldn't
Right.
it? Revolve around Ved. And you could have snuck in the conversation then about Chloe's going to get this key card off Ved, and while they're restyling Dee, they could have had a conversation about how she could do it.
Again, this is another big thing. This is a big character change for Dee. She's no longer Mosquito.
No.
We need some information about why. That's all. Just some,
Where did those
some
clothes
insight.
come from?
Where did
Where did
come
those
from?
clothes come from? They didn't come from the sex shop that she was living in with the mosquitoes, did it?
Nope.
And does she live in the mall now?
That's another good question. I don't know. Again, we don't know any of these things.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the outfit. I thought it was very interesting. Different colours, because we don't see I mean, pink is one of those colours that we associate really strongly with Sandra. And there's not a lot of pink. And there's not a lot of orange, like peachy colours being worn by people. So it was an interesting style. It's a romper. It's a play suit, which we hardly ever see anyone wear play suits in the drive. It's usually shorts or 3/4 length trousers or a skirt with leggings. So it was an interesting silhouette, but it's come out of nowhere.
I'm going to be honest. It reminded me of Ned.
Oh my God, did it?
Yeah,
Really?
the orange kind of jumpsuit thingy is like
okay.
the dungaree braces. Yeah, I thought.
Oh, see, for me, it reminded me of, Keep Fit Barbie in
Yep.
Story.
Yep.
It kind of had that vibe. All she needed was like a headband, really.
Yeah.
And we were going to do some Keep Fit with her. I like the purple plastic jacket. There seem to be a lot of those plastic pieces because Amber's wearing a plastic piece on her outfit, and I think Trudy's got a plastic piece coming up her leg between the two closures of the skirt. So they've obviously decided, maybe they've got a new designer or someone who's working with that sort of plastic, and it does give it a very Y2K feel.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah. I mean, she looked great. It was in keeping with her hair. But why? Why now? She spent so long in that uncomfortable mosquito outfit, which must have made her, I mean, it's so sweaty looking, And in the heat wave, not that they had a heat wave, but if they did, you'd die in that. You'd actually die.
All right, cool. That brings us to our final thoughts of the episode.
You know where to go?
Sammy, you don't have to do this. It's okay. You've been good to me. I want to help.
Yeah, just follow the map. When you get inside, film everything you see, then come straight back here, okay?
So, armed with Chloe's information, as well as her access key, the Morats plan to break into the room in the hotel where the reality space experiments are continuing, with a view to filming them and then broadcasting them over CityNet. However, requiring someone very small to crawl through the ducts to access the room, Sammy surprisingly volunteers, saying that the Morats have been good to him and he wants to help. Inside, however, the Technos hear someone moving in the ducts. So yeah, what did you think of the Morats' plan and Sammy's sudden bravery?
Okay, so just picking up the Sammy thread first of all, it did feel like this came out of nowhere, but there was that earlier conversation between Mouse and Sammy around not stealing, and I think that maybe Sammy's moral compass is changing slightly. I mean, it did feel like it came out of nowhere. Like a lot in this episode felt like it came out of nowhere. And I think we had a discussion ages ago about how it would have made more sense if Sammy had been found by the Morats and stayed after being one of those kids that was experimented on with Amber. I think that would have made more sense. And I think it would have fitted this storyline better because it makes sense as to why he volunteers. Other than that, Sammy's one of those characters that's so ill-defined that, yeah, I had completely forgotten that it was him that went in and did it. I'm glad it wasn't Mouse.
Yeah.
Mouse has been the highlight of this episode again for me. She's delightful.
I have to say, that little scene with Mouse and Sammy, though, selling Lex's autograph.
Very funny, yeah.
I instantly had flashbacks to Sally and Andy and the Supreme Mother shirts with Tysan's face on it.
Yeah. And also any sort of Casey shenanigans. Casey would have
Mhm.
loved to get hold of those two kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would have definitely turned them into, you know, little thieves and vagabonds, you know.
Mhm.
They would have joined his cartel. When it comes to the plan, however, I mean, yeah, it's essentially just trying to get evidence that this is going on. And I don't think it's just about Jay. I think it's also for the other leaders, isn't it? Because they've kind of gone cold on the idea of any sort of acts of rebellion or trying to get rid of the Technos. What else could they really do other than sabotage the space that it's in? But if they did that, they'd probably kill all those innocent people inside, and that's not their way, is it? So
Yeah. I think it was actually a half decent plan.
mhm.
You know, expose the enemy. It's what Ellie would have suggested, most
Yeah.
likely. Sending in the little kid to do the filming for you, yeah, that I'm with Celine. I'm not very comfortable with them sending in Sammy.
Yeah, it was a good cliffhanger to end it on as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And it's scenes like this that actually give me the tiniest bit of respect for Sammy for actually doing this for them.
Yeah.
Like, at first we have Mouse telling him that we don't steal from family, you know, and then he's like, okay, this is my family now. Okay, so I should help them.
Mm-hmm. I did like that.
I don't think they did enough in the episode to build that up, though.
They didn't do a lot with it, but there's so much they don't do. I guess I'm just glad for the tiny things they do with it.
That's true. But I also felt a bit uncomfortable because he said, "You've been good to me." And their reaction wasn't, "Oh my God, you don't have to pay us back."
Yeah.
Which is what your reaction would be. Like, you do not have to put yourself in danger because we let you live with us.
Yeah, but these are the people that would have happily put Patsy, Chloe, and
gonna
Casey
say, yeah.
in danger.
They've put the kids in so much danger, so
like
so true.
Like
so true.
The only kid they might have had objections with doing this might have been Brady, you know?
Yeah, but that's only because
And
Brady
even then.
can't walk properly.
And even
If
then,
she had been able to get into that duct, I mean,
yeah. If Sammy hadn't been there, they would have used Mouse.
oh no, they can't use Mouse.
I mean, remember,
No.
these kids have been through a lot anyway, just generally. So, like,
Yeah.
you have to judge them a little bit differently to normal age, if you see what I mean. So, like,
Yeah.
I know it's not right, but still, it's like, you grow up faster in this world.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Yeah, because we know, like, Mouse and her brother Charlie. I don't know if we're allowed to mention Charlie anymore. They don't. We know that they were essentially slave labor for another tribe. So yeah, we know that these kids have had a tough life. We don't really know much about Sammy, but you can assume that he's just been wandering around on his own or whatever.
I mean, I don't know, I'll talk about it next episode. It's fine.
What were you going to say?
I mean, you guys just made me remember another question. Okay, why are these experiments still going on? I'm confused.
Well, I think, and I know I keep going back to this, but isn't this, I mean, there's two prongs for this. One, they want to perfect reality space so that eventually everyone gets one of those headsets and it's like linked to your own personal fantasies. And two, is this not, I mean, I know we've talked about the fact that there's no planning gone in and that it was maybe a last minute change for Ram, but if he wants to live for 1,000 years in reality space, I guess he needs to know how long they can actually last in this space.
Yep.
This is where I'm confused. So if we're saying that the helmets are the advanced stages of those prongs tied directly to the brain,
yeah,
then why are they still having the prongs? They should be on the helmets because that's what Ram eventually is going to be in. So
maybe they're not there yet.
Are they still on the old tech? But then what? Lex is on the new tech. Not just Lex. Ram, Ved, they've all been using the new headset. So why are they on the old one? That doesn't make sense.
No, well, maybe they only have so many.
And remember, Lex can feel everything with the new headset. So that's not tying in. Why are they all still on the old prongs? I know why visually, because visually it looks scary. That's why they're using it. But in the story, it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. It's like you say, this episode is completely Swiss cheese. When you really think about it, it's just plot hole galore.
Everything you mentioned just opens up another door. I was like, oh, what? So many holes.
They weren't trying with this one at all. They were just trying to set things up for the next episode. It's filler, basically. We just need to fill in enough around the edges so that people know what is going to happen in the next episode. But actually, in reality, you still need to make sense because there was so much in this episode that was just taken for granted. It will be this next step. And they haven't coloured it in properly at all. And like you said, that's series 4. Welcome to series 4. It doesn't really make any sense. It's not coherent. But let's not forget, we had this creeping into series 3, where we had that whole baggy end part of series 3, where they felt like they were desperately trying to find a new storyline that wasn't about the Chosen until they finally got the Ebonies trying to overthrow everything from the inside. And it took them ages to get there.
Yeah,
So is it new writers? Is that the problem? Is it a bunch of new writers?
Partially.
Because if you think about how well plotted season 1 was, and how equally well plotted season 2 was, because season 2 is basically a game of two halves. The first half is the antidote. The second half is the rise of the Chosen. The first half of season 3 is good. The last half of season 3, I think, is some of the worst writing. Even worse than series 4, in my opinion. I know that's controversial.
No, wait, hold on.
No.
Hold on. Season 4 is like, it's not even like, season 3 had the fantastic outdoor shots. They had so many different locations they were using and sets, like the resistance base, the ecos, the mall. You had all of that going. Season 4, you've only got the hotel and the mall rat base.
But we're not talking about locations, though.
No, but like that in terms of, but that affects the shooting schedule, location shots, how everything's tied together. So they shoot things in batches. So
yeah,
the reason why the dots aren't connecting in season 4, it doesn't make sense because they've got so few sets to use.
Problem. It's a writer's room problem, which is what I'm trying to say. And I think this writer's room problem was why the back end of season 3 is so poor.
Well, it shouldn't be a writer's room problem. That's because the sets are so few sets. So the story should be very easy to be laid out, even if you're shooting in different episodes and writing for different episodes, like odd numbers. It should be easy to tie together. Like, it doesn't make sense why there is no thoroughfare, why nothing is connected.
Well, I think the problem is that sometimes they were getting pages on the day. We know this.
Yeah, we know that. But
we've spoken about that. So the question is then, why was this such a chaotic shoot? Why was season 4 so chaotic? Is it because they had that mass cast exodus? Or is it something else? Is it something in the writer's room that's gone wrong? Like the idea of the original plan had to be jettisoned. So then they're writing on the hoof. Is that what it is?
But I mean, even then, we're on episode 27 now. Like, you can't still be pretending to struggle to reach a storyline. The outline for season 4 must have still have been there. So why are we still struggling to connect simple stories together? Like, I can't give it that. Like, season 4 is just badly written. No offense. It's it's got a lot of exciting things going for it. Yeah. But it's badly written.
I don't think anyone is out here saying that season 4 is well written. Just in my opinion, it's slightly better written than the end of series 3 when you compare it to the beginning of series 3. The beginning of series 3 is really strong. Oh, yeah. And then you get that baggy back end, which to me just ruins the whole season. So this has been awful from the get-go. Season 4 has been an incoherent mess of ideas. They just threw it against a wall and hoped something stuck. Season 3, however, was you had so much potential and you wasted it. So to me, that's a bigger crime than whatever the hell season 4 is. It's a fever dream.
I can't give you that. No, I can't give you that. The amount of potential lost in season 4. No. Well, this is a bigger crime.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've all got our
everything
opinions.
From Ved and Chloe to Jay and Ebony to Amber. No, I can't give you that.
But it goes to show that the lack of coherence that they had in the end of Series 3 dramatically affected Series 4 because they have no coherence. It's just, oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we're going to do that. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we're going to do that. And like you say, none of the dots are connected. The problem is that it was the effect of the poor writing is still affecting the show. That is what we're trying to say. Not that any decisions that they took in season 3 affected season 4. It's simply because the writer's room was so chaotic that none of this is coherent.
That's even more. See, now you got me thinking. That's even more of a crime, because if they were only given the outline of what we needed to get to, why did they not even bother to fill it in? Why did they just hit those points and nothing else? If you see what I mean.
Good question. Yeah, good question.
If the guy who, in quotation marks, said, okay, we need to hit A, B, and C, so why didn't the writers, even though they've got all this space free to do it, not connect A to B to C? Why did they not even bother doing the connection? I just don't get it.
And I think that they downshifted with. So I think I think season 4 is essentially a soft reboot, and they've also shifted it back a little bit, so it's for a slightly younger audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this feels like to me. Because they're essentially saying that most people, like, there'll be some diehard fans, but essentially they wanted this to be
For the younger new fans.
to get a whole crop of new. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they just want to get to this place, and they're not interested in showing us how we're going to get there. It's really bad. It's really bad.
So sad.
It is really sad, actually. Yeah, because like we all love this show, and we still love this show to today, and it's sad to that they didn't put the same sort of care into it that they had before. I mean, I wonder if the problem with this goes back to Atlantis Eye and the fact that you've got 2 productions roughly at the same time.
Yeah, 2 or 3 productions with Revelations as well, and
yeah, Revelations as well. It's kind of, maybe it's being stretched too thin.
Actually, that's a good question. Do we know if the same writers worked on the other programs, or was it different groups? Do we know?
I think it was the same writers.
Because that says a lot if it is.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think it was the same writers.
Okay, I'm going to research this when we go off air, because
You need to
that
do this.
is going to be.
Let us know.
That's going to say a lot if it is.
I'm also I want to ask the listeners, if you are a fan of season 4,
Why?
What makes this season like? No, I know that sounds because I'm thinking about Matt and people who are fans of season 4, and I'm not saying it in like a derogatory sense. I'm saying it like, what is it about this season that makes it work for you? Is it because it was your first foray into the tribe, or is it something else? But what is it?
We have to try and get Matt on, because we need to
Please
hear
help us understand
the other side of
do.
What is it about season 4 that really connected with you? Because we need to know.
Because we don't want it to seem like we're just bashing season 4.
No,
because we're not. But it's just that
we always try and find the good scenes, and we talk about the things that do work, but just on the balance, a lot of things.
This episode has kind of shown up that, like you say, we're 27 episodes in now. Get it together, people.
You're right.
Get it together.
It was a huge bomb. We lost the whole half the cast. I get it. Lots of things have changed, but we're now episode 27. How is not a coherent plan not put together by now?
Let's be honest now, Lance. If this was any show in the UK, 27 episodes would be 3 series by now.
Right?
Can you imagine? And you still don't know what story you want to tell. Because they don't. They still don't know what story they want to tell. And that's what it comes down to. They do not know what they want to talk about.
You said it just there. I feel like this is where season 4 needed a break. This is where like they needed shorter episodes, because they obviously needed a break to catch up and plan out properly and write properly. So maybe they should have cut it up into like, okay,
Yeah.
obviously if we had Netflix back then, now we could have had part 1 and then a part 2 and a part 3, whatever.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I felt this would have been benefited season 4. It needed time to
Yes.
cook, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, it should have been shorter. But then, if it had been shorter, would we have got anything at all? Because this is 27 episodes in. Would we have got anything at all?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the scary
Maybe.
thing.
If they split it up into like 2 parts, one was filmed in one
Yeah.
block and the other filmed later on, it could have been better, more tightly written. It could have something
Yeah.
better, but
Yeah.
and then have Atlantis High playing in between. Like maybe, I don't know if it was work structured as it is, as stuff is now, but yeah, that's another what if.
Oh, it's depressing. It really is depressing.
Alright, cool. That brings Series 4, Episode 27 to a close. Thank you very much to the panel, and you can show your support by clicking on that like and subscribe and following us on all the major platforms. You can also leave us a comment or get in touch if you'd like to take part in a future episode of the podcast yourself. Just search for thetribe.co.uk or Conversations on Eagle Mountain. You can also throw us a donation. Just head on over to buymeacoffee.com/thetribe.co.uk. And we'll see you next time for episode 28. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Bye.